What's good, YouTube? Back at you with another video, and we are here today to talk about whether Vietnam is good for you or if it's not a good idea to have you move to Vietnam. I'm gonna talk about so many things, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's talk about it. So let's talk about it. So I've been living here in Vietnam for the last almost 5 years, and since I've been living here, it's a completely different vibe than in the USA, in Europe, anywhere I've lived. In Africa I've lived. And so Vietnam is one of the most unique countries I've ever been to. So who it's for: budget friendly expats and people who want to live in peace. Let's be real, right? So if you're a budget friendly digital nomad who's making a US salary anywhere around the world, no matter where you're from, if you're making a US salary, you're going to be perfect here. Okay, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. I would say that a minimum of $1,400 to $2,500 US a month is going to be just fine for you. You don't have to worry about anything. You can live like a king with that. Okay, obviously the more the better, yeah? So as you know, Vietnam offers affordability when it comes to your accommodation. It's super easy to get accommodations here. You can get apartments from $300 US to all the way to $2,500 US, even more than that, right? But again, if you're here to save money, then you'll save money, right? You want to have a good accommodation. You can get apartments that have pools, gyms in them. That's going to cost you a lot more money, of course. Or you can get an older building that you can live in that will definitely cost you a lot less, and you can save a lot more money here, you know? So there's a lot of opportunity for those budget-friendly expats who are looking for a peaceful place to live. It's safe here. And again, it's like right now, it's like almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's very peaceful. The weather is great here. I'm in Hanoi right now, so it's very peaceful and it's very affordable. There's a big difference between where you're gonna live if you live in the north, the central, or if you're gonna live in the south. So I'll get into it here shortly, but about which is gonna matter to you, whether you should live in the north or whether you should live in central or whether you should live in the south, right? So, but as far as that comes, and I'm just looking at my notes here on my phone, so forgive me if you see me looking down. I'm just making sure I stay on point here. So also for entrepreneurs and remote workers, like I said, if you are interested in working remote, Vietnam is one of the best places you can live, right? It has the infrastructure, the Wi-Fi, and the internet is very good. The buildings here are very good, and as well, it has very good, consistent weather. So you can be good. You can be rest assured that when you come here to the north of Vietnam, it's going to be perfect for you. You know what I mean? Number 2, entrepreneurs and remote workers. So Vietnam's economy is growing very fast, and so therefore, if you are an entrepreneur, there's tons of opportunities here for you. Honestly, Vietnam doesn't have what you have in the US or in the West, let's just say. right? Because I'm from the US. It definitely has a lot of opportunity here for those in restaurant, nightclub, little tiny businesses, coffee shops where I'm at right now, juice shops. So it's easier to set up here, and it's also more cost effective, right, than in the West. The West, you have to do so many different types of paperwork and everything. And yeah, in Vietnam, you have to do some paperwork as well, but it's going to cost you a tenth of the price than it would be in the West. Yeah. So if you fail, then you fail at a lower cost, let's just say. So in business, they say fail fast so that you can understand where your success comes from. Yeah. So in Vietnam, it allows you to fail faster, and then you can become more successful. Yeah. So in particular, like cities like here in Hanoi and in Ho Chi Minh City, those are the two biggest cities that are going to be here in Vietnam. And so if you're interested in coming and starting businesses or investing in businesses, I would definitely recommend that you start out with those two cities, Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. And obviously, depending on the type of business that you have, you're definitely going to be more successful in those two cities. However, if you're looking to start a business in the education department, whether it's an English center or, well, that's probably what you're gonna start into, is an English center or just a regular school or tutoring kids, definitely want to start in the two bigger cities. But there's a caveat. In the rural areas, you are definitely going to be successful as well, because the English language opportunity is nationwide. So it's not just in the big cities, it's in the smaller rural areas as well. You have to have a good strategy in order to make it in those smaller areas as well as the big ones. But majority of the time, you're going to be successful if you come with a nice plan and you are friendly. Period. That's what Vietnam really appreciates, because they're very community driven, you know? Number 3, adventurers and nature lovers. So if you enjoy, breathtaking landscapes like Halong Bay, the mountainous of Sapa, or like tropical beaches, Vietnam offers endless possibilities for you, because one, in Hanoi and in the north where I'm at right now, the north is the best scenery that I've seen, and I've been all over the country. So it has those mountains, like I said, with Sapa. It has Halong Bay. It also has Ha Giang. Also, it has Cat Ba. So you can definitely also, don't forget Ninh Bình as well. And so you can definitely have a good time here in the north. If you want to see some really cool stuff, start in the north. All right. But for you adventurers, you guys are going to love the north, right? Central Valley, the central region is good too. It has a lot of really good beaches. So it's known for the beaches in the central area, like Da Nang and Nha Trang. So make sure that you check out the Central Valley if you want to go to the beaches, right? Also, the South. The South is where it's happening, right? Ho Chi Minh City is popping. I'm not even gonna lie. The vibe in Ho Chi Minh City is awesome. Also, if you want to be an adventurer and you want to check out some places, you can check out places like Dalat. You can check out places like Mui Ne, or you can check out places like the Mekong Delta, right? So I think it's very, beautiful when it comes to Vietnam, because there's 3 different regions, yeah? And so you can have a really good time in all of them. But again, before you move here, you have to make sure you understand where you want to live, because it all differs based on weather and vibrancy. Number 4, if you are a cultural enthusiast, man, Vietnam is perfect for you, right? people who are curious about the culture of Vietnam, the history of Vietnam, their local traditions, as well as a fusion of modern and traditional lifestyles, man, Vietnam is for you. I promise you. You're not going to worry about any of that stuff here because Vietnam has thousands of years of history, and you can feel it more in the north than you can in the Central Valley or in the South region. The North has more of a Chinese influence. The South has more of like American Western lifestyle, right? So yes, it's Vietnam, but there's more of influences from the US because of the war and because, the French as well. Also, Central is kind of like a mix between the North and the South, and people who don't really care about the North and people who don't really care about the South, they generally go to the Central Valley and the Central region, and then they'll just stay there, So if you're looking for more cultural traditions, I would definitely live in the North. Number 5, people who value community. The expat community in Vietnam is thriving. It's not like Thailand where it's already established. There's a lot of expats who are moving here to have a better life, such as myself. I keep trying to tell my friends, on the phone in the US, like, yo, you need to come to Vietnam and you need to move here. You don't just check it out. Come and move here. One, because you have me, and I've been here for a while, and I understand what's going on. But they just don't believe me. They're afraid. I don't know what's going on. But the community here is thriving, And post-COVID, a lot of people are starting to come back. So it's the hospitality from the Vietnamese people is top-notch. Also, I'm not gonna front. It's lonely sometimes, being that if you don't speak the language, it's pretty lonely if you're trying to make local friends, The Vietnamese people are very shy people, and they don't know much English, but the English is coming up. There's a lot of emphasis on English learning here, and so over the last 30 years, they've started to implement, let's say, more English into their curriculum. And so I'll say this, that you're going to this is the real deal right here. First, you're going to meet a lot of foreigners from all over the world. Second, if you decide to get along with locals, you can do that, right? And don't get me wrong, like I said, in the bigger cities like Hanoi and like Ho Chi Minh City, you're going to have more Vietnamese who speak English, But in the rural areas, definitely not a big English speaking opportunity for you to make local friends. So you must learn the language, yeah? So I would definitely, if I were you, I would definitely learn some Vietnamese, and then you can rest assured that you're going to be okay when you get here. But it's not a requirement for you to live here to learn Vietnamese, right? It's just easier for you. I know a lot of Vietnamese would say, learn our language, but Vietnamese is not like Spanish, right? Spanish is a lot easier to understand, and it's kind of easier for US people, US citizens to understanding Spanish rather than Vietnamese. Vietnamese is a completely different universe, let's just say. And again, I'm learning Vietnamese at the moment. And so even still, hearing it every day on the ground it's better for me, but it's still a lot more difficult to speak it than understanding what they say. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you can learn just a few basics like hello and goodbye and how much, then you can get by, on a daily basis. But again, you're going to talk to a lot of foreigners first, and again, make friends with foreigners. But this is a little tip right here. Don't be friends with everybody. Everyone doesn't have your best interest in it for you, right? So just be careful who you become friends with, because there are a lot of toxic expats here who will take advantage of you, and you got to make sure you watch out for that. You know what I mean? Let me drop another nugget for you. Number 6. Who Vietnam is good for? I will say this. The healthcare is very affordable, and it's coming up big time here. A lot of the foreigner investment is coming in, and it's boosting the healthcare system here. They're becoming a rival to Thailand. So Thailand's still number 1 here in Southeast Asia, but Vietnam is coming up pretty fast. So if you're interested, you can, and it costs what, a fourth of what it costs in Thailand. So again, Thailand's cheap, but Vietnam is cheaper when it comes to healthcare. So, and that is like Western hospitals. That's not the local hospital. That's Western hospitals. So you can imagine what you can get for that. Everything they offer in Thailand, for the most part, they offer here in Vietnam, but cheaper, right? And I actually heard, just a little side note, I heard that they offer Vietnamese doctors in Singapore, in Thailand. So Vietnamese doctors go outside of Vietnam to go make money. So that should give you a little bit of a sense that Vietnam's healthcare is coming up, and that's good for retirees and expats who live here who want to make this their home. All right, let's talk about who Vietnam is not for. Number 1, people expecting Western standards everywhere in Vietnam. So let's be real. Vietnam is a socialist communist country that is still coming up, right? It's a developing nation, yeah? So if you're looking for those Western standards that you have in the West, you're going to be very, very disappointed, yeah? Of course, Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City have some Western standards, more so in Ho Chi Minh City, because again, they are more US and Western civilized, I'll say. They're more accustomed to, dealing with tourism and the West, yeah? But here in the North, it is completely different. So don't expect to come to the North and expect the Western standards. You're still in a developing country. So don't come to Vietnam if you have high expectation, whether you're looking for, let's say, a European standard, or whether you're looking for a USA standard. It's not going to happen here. They're still developing and they're still coming up. So make sure that you lower your expectations and just go with the flow. Have a good time, man, because when I first got here, I didn't expect anything. I had no idea what Vietnam was about. So I just said, okay, let's just have a good experience and let's just see what Vietnam has to offer. And I've lived here ever since. If you require Western style amenities and conveniences all the time, like luxury shopping, high-end gyms, etc., you may find Vietnam to be very, very limited with their options, and especially outside the major cities. So keep that in mind. Who Vietnam is not for is high-level corporate professionals. Again, the local job market might not offer the same high-paying opportunities that you are used to in those Western countries. Again, Vietnam is a developing nation. They're not going to give you, the Westerner, an opportunity over their local people. So don't come here thinking that you're Mr. Hotshot or Miss Hotshot and think you're going to get a high-paying job that a local who is here can get those higher paying jobs. They're going to bypass you to get to those local people first because they don't care about you. Okay? Let's be real, right? Now, I'm not saying if you don't have specialized skills that you're not going to get those jobs. If you have a special skill like a doctor or something, of course you're going to get that, right? But they're going to choose their people first. You have to understand that. Especially if you don't speak Vietnamese, they're going to pass you up. Number 3, the traffic and the chaoticness of a Southeast Asian country. It's crazy here in Vietnam when it comes to the traffic. Driving, it's crazy, right? So make sure that if you are going to come here and you want to drive, 1, be good at driving a motorbike or a motorcycle. 2, make sure that if you bring a car here, you're going to pay at least 30% import tax. So that's expensive here, okay? So it's not as easy, and these roads are really small for these big SUVs. Now, there are a lot of SUVs that are coming up on the road, and it really gets congested here. I'm sure you've seen pictures or videos of the traffic here, or other YouTubers who have tried to cross the street. That is real. That's not fake. That's not AI. That's not nothing. That's real, man. And so I drive here every day. I've been driving here for over 4 years on a motorbike. I know how it is here. And if you're not careful, you can crash, and you will crash. So they have rideshare apps that can guide you, that can take you to the places you need. Cost you like $1 US, or it'll cost you a couple bucks if you want to go far, but it's way more cost effective than in your Western country. So I promise you, if you want to drive here, first, make sure you get a license. 2, make sure you get a good, reliable transportation so that it can take you everywhere you need to go. All right. Also, just be careful here, man, because there's been a lot of foreigners who have died here, and again, if you are foolish and you are crazy, don't drive here. Use the rideshare apps, because these guys here don't give a damn about you as a foreigner being a novice on the road. Trust me. Number 4, those who are sensitive to the weather here, man. It is extremely hot in Vietnam. So all those tropical climate with the high humidity and heavy monsoon seasons, man, it rains a lot here, or it's hot here. So again, be mindful of, if you're sensitive to hot weather, don't come to Vietnam. If you're sensitive to the hot weather and the humidity, which it's more humid in Ho Chi Minh City than it is in Hanoi. Since I got here in 2020, the weather in Hanoi has been extremely turbulent. It gets hot, then it gets cold, then it's very humid. So it's pretty humid no matter what, right? The best time in Hanoi here is in the fall right now. This is the best weather you're gonna get in Hanoi, so it's not so turbulent. In Saigon, it's only hot, hotter, and humid. That's it. So, and rainy, let's just say. So just be mindful that if you are looking to come to Vietnam, the north it's very turbulent weather. Central is going to be more hot, a little bit more dry, but less humid. And you're gonna have a lot of monsoons when it's monsoon season, so it's gonna rain a ton. In the south, it's just hot and humid. That's it, right? So just be mindful of that, all right, man. Number 5, people unwilling to adapt to the cultural differences. Now, this one is a big one, right? So let's be real. Every day, it's a struggle to deal with their cultural differences from the West to here. Believe me. Vietnam's way of life is very different from the West. You have to understand this, right? the way they do things, from their language barriers to their local customs. If you're not open to adapting to their way of life, then this country is not going to be good for you. So you have to understand that this place is a developing nation again, and these people have been doing things the way they've been doing it. So they're slowly but surely coming around to the Western style, but don't expect that, right? Again, they're coming up in the world, and so they want to compete with Thailand. Thailand has gotten it somewhat right in the fact that they want more Western. They're bringing more Western values to Southeast Asia. So again, just be careful, all right? If you're not used to adapting to other people's culture, Vietnam's not for you. All right, number 6, individuals who need instant comforts. Vietnam's infrastructure, while improving, isn't always reliable. For example, power outages, their traffic, or slower public services might frustrate you as a Westerner. So be mindful of that as well. They don't have the top-notch facilities that you're used to in the West. So be mindful of that. Understand that it's different here, okay? That's why you moved. That's why you want to move. It's different, right? Try something different. This is what I had to understand, is that, you know, the post office, for example, the mail service, they call you for you to come down and pick up your mail, yeah? But in the West, they drop it in a mailbox and then you can pick it up whenever you want. They don't do that here. So that's like one example, you know? Again, UPS, DHL, all those kind of services, FedEx, they drop packages off at your house, yeah? Well, here they give you a call. If you're not home, they come back and deliver later. And that could be days later, that could be weeks later, right? So they don't just drop it off at unless you know your carrier, he'll drop it off or she'll drop it off at your apartment, and then they'll just leave it there because you guys have that rapport. But if you don't have that rapport with your shipper, then who knows when you're going to get your package, you know? So again, these little things might frustrate you. You have to understand that it's different here, all right? So if you can build your rapport with your shipper, with anyone that you have services with, whether it's your nails, getting your nails done, getting your hair cut, you know, getting your beard done, or, you know, you have a good coffee shop. Again, if you find a good service, stick with them, because they're going to take care of you more than anybody else that you'll come across. All right. So again, if you're used to those modern comforts that you have, you know, in the West, then you're not going to get that here. All right. All right, so number 7, those needing specialized healthcare. While general healthcare is affordable, people that require specialized Western-style medical needs, it's not that good here. All right, it's coming up. Yeah, so if you're looking for a Western hospital, they're going to be generally good for you. But if you're looking for more, if you go to these local hospitals, good luck. All right, man. So my last point, people who prefer a fast-paced social change. So Vietnam is still a conservative, all-around conservative country. You're going to have more conservativeness in the north. In the central, it's going to be half and half. And in the south, it's still conservative, but it's much more Western. So they're completely, I'm going to be real. The south is more Western than anywhere else in the country, particularly in Ho Chi Minh City. Ho Chi Minh City is like a little bubble a big bubble that that is more open to what you're used to. So again, Hanoi is going to be very conservative. It's more of like a Chinese mixed background. So they're very conservative. They're not going to be as friendly as you would be in the South, and not as friendly as Central. So if you're looking for more of a friendlier nature here in Vietnam, I would definitely go to the South, because the South is legit. Okay, it has that vibe you're looking for, right? And so the North here, where I'm at, you can get around. There's some people, that you'll meet that are going to be more accommodating than most of these people here in the North. They're not as friendly as you would get if you were in Central or in the South. So yeah, man, I mean, let's keep it real, man. I'm gonna give you everything you need that's real here in Vietnam. Again, like I said, I've lived here for the last almost 5 years, man, and I still get frustrated every day. I still get frustrated, whether it's traffic, whether it's the weather. My biggest thing here is the traffic. And in the North, they're not as friendly as they would be in the South. I've lived in both areas, and I prefer the South. That's why I'm leaving the North, because the North, I've lived here for 3 years, and it's been great, man. I'm not gonna lie. The North, you can come here and you can live a peaceful life, and people are going to be, they're more in your business in the North. But then they just kind of leave you alone, though. As a foreigner, they'll leave you alone more. But in the South, they'll just leave you alone as well. But you get to hang out with more locals. So again, if you're looking to communicate with the locals, the South is where you want to be, right? The North, they're not as open here in the North. So that's a frustration. I'll be honest, that's a frustration, because I love the Vietnamese people. I think they're great. I really do believe they're one of the top Asians, and I think Vietnam is one of the top Asian countries. Honestly, that's why I stayed here. So I do love the North. I'm not gonna lie. It's beautiful. It's nice, but the weather is just so up and down and turbulent. And then you don't have as friendly people than you do in the South. So the Central is, again, it's a mix. I've never lived in the Central Valley, but I visited there. They're friendly. They're more friendly than the North, I'll be honest. So yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, if you have any questions, man, leave them in the comment section below. And happy traveling, man. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to hear more about Vietnam from an expat's perspective. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.